Back in studio, we are excited to be here and welcome in three-time Super Bowl champion Devin McCourty. Saw him and his brother at Jets camp about a month ago. What has he learned since then? I know he's been calling preseason action with his brother for the Patriots. We got a lot to talk about with that. And then, anybody see this Travis Kelce brother deal? Just go down 100 M's. We got to talk to McCourty about getting in on some of that. We also have the newly retired, and congrats on his career, quarterback Colt McCoy. I think I want to know the human side of what this day is like. I mean, we're here Monday morning, shiny in LA, but so many teams, families, wives, generations sort of affected by cut day today. What it means for teams, what it means for individuals, what it means for families. So we'll get that aspect and talk a little ball with our guy, Colt McCoy. And I need you to hear me out, guys, on my fantasy strategy at the quarterback position. Is it different than any other year? No, but I'm still going to tell you and try to get you to subscribe to that. Predictathon rolls on. Which team do I think could be the biggest surprise in the whole NFL this year? All right, back here in Los Angeles, Matthew Hamilton somewhere coaching a high school football team to hopeful glory at the end of the fall, doing his thing. It is cut day. I'd like you to know, yeah, you're done, kid.
That's it.
Keep it going. I don't know. You and I are not on the same page the past 48 hours. You and I are bickering like I don't even know.
You're gonna replace me with a horse again?
Sorry?
You're gonna replace me with a horse again?
I don't know. That was not me. But I was not peak form yesterday. I was repeating things. I was like losing myself. So we're gonna have a better show today. It's all we got to do is just be a little better than yesterday. You know?
Oh yeah, you're in coach mode already. I love it.
How's your high school team? Let's start there. Let's start my whole show, this whole national show with your local squad up there. How's it going?
You know what? We're working hard. We're getting better every day. Had a great practice yesterday. I had 3 practices yesterday. Things are coming along. I feel good about what we have this year.
Have you bothered Luke Kuechly via text about your team?
I have not. Only Chris Schwartz has his phone number right now, and they're busy talking about their flights and
Yeah. We have the split screen.
Plans.
I'm going to tell you to buzz off because we got this helmet we need to show. That's where we're starting today's program in Cincinnati. Let's do it. Who Day Nation. Because we had images. We had nice, I've seen Jamarr Chase working out. I saw him in Frisco, Texas. He showed up. He was by himself doing his thing off of a runway in Paris. And then this is magical as well. Back at practice after missing all of training camp in the preseason with the contract ongoing sitch. Now, when I say missing, we should clarify, we mean not practicing, not missing, because I was there during training camp. Did I see him? Did I talk to him at length? Was he the smiliest person on the entire team when I saw him? Yes, he was. Was he optimistic? Was he there helping up and coaching his teammates on the sideline? Yes, even though he didn't suit up to practice. He's been in the building. He hasn't been missing people. He's just been off the practice field. And let's take a listen to Zach Taylor to kick this off on what Chase has brought to camp despite not being on the field, suited up, sweating, and running routes.
Jamarr affects the chemistry on the team in a positive way. When your star player has the energy and the enthusiasm that he does, whether he's just out there with the ball cap on or in the meeting rooms or in the locker room, Jamarr has an effect on the team that's genuinely positive. And again, I think he wields that the right way and can really sway the mood of the locker room, and I appreciate that. And so he and I are on the same page, and he's easy to communicate with.
He wasn't just saying it, I saw it. I talked to Jamarr Chase. I think it's so amazing. I think it's special. I think it's rare to see all sides positive and headed towards the same page during something like this. It doesn't happen everywhere. I don't have to point to the places it's right now not happening and working. We've had countless instances of contract situations being ugly. This year alone, and of course through history. Seeing Jamarr and T, by the way, who gets not enough love for what an incredible person and player he is, saying, I know what the future holds. I know there's only so much to go around, and I know I'm probably out of here. But you know what? I can win here. That's what Jamarr Chase is thinking. That's what T. Higgins is thinking. And you think that because you have a guy named Joe Burrow and you have a team that is pouring into this organization with something that might seem trite to some of us, might seem like a new locker room. Things weren't always that way. There's plenty of places in the NFL that don't get renovated locker rooms. That don't have these little things happen to me. me. So this whole situation tells me that these dudes are awesome. They're special as teammates, as individuals. I think Joe Burrow is somebody who holds everybody accountable. I think he gives a lot of confidence in that locker room that we can win here. Not every quarterback in the NFL has that command, is able to use their voice, and is able to keep people together. That confidence spills over to Jamarr. He thinks the organization's going to come through for him in the long run. That's all we've heard from him. And most importantly, it says a lot about how all of these guys, T included, view the team. And they view the opportunity in front of them this year. There's an awareness here of the window. If T doesn't think he can win here, he might be making a bit of a more of a stomp. He might not be out on the field, like just kind of letting the business side, wash over him, if you will. They're making a run at a ring together. Joe Burrow, the first one to say, there's no sense of urgency. I'm going to be here a long time. Every year is a window. I can win this thing. But I asked Joe, don't you want to win it with these dudes that you guys have been through so much adversity, the guys you got to the Super Bowl with and did not pull it up? Isn't it important to you to win with the T. Higgins, with the Jamar Chase, with this O-line, with whatever? He said, yeah, it is. And this is a dangerous AF squad that as I think that we've seen yet with Joe Burrow healthy to start the season. I also want to say, the reason that I think if people think, oh, she likes graders and she likes being ruler of the jungle and she just loves Joe Burrow and it's so whatever, I think maybe I haven't articulated that the reason that I love the Bengals and fell in love with the Bengals so much is because they are what the Bears and the Chargers and organizations that haven't got, they've shown you what is possible when you have your quarterback, when you have an organization that does start to pour into the team, paying Joe. They're going to pay Jamar. I feel that way. And they, just investing in the facility, in the fan experience, which is really evolved. In sports, we tend to, and it's really frustrating, we tend to label teams, people, whatever, as something, and it's really hard. Sports is sports, not anybody individually. Sports is sports in general, really unwilling to let something change, to let the Geno Smith be looked at a different way, to let the Bengals go from being maybe something that they were labeled as 10 years ago to what they are right now. If I'm a Bears fan, if I'm a Chargers fan, I'm looking at this team saying, you're showing what's possible in little time with a couple of tweaks, a lot of organizational support. And I don't think that this is going the way that it's going, which in my opinion is in a positive direction without all of that. So Bengals, love ya. I don't know. I'm willing to see the evolution. I've seen it, and I'm excited for what's to come. Okay. I also want to talk about Denver. Let's go from Cincinnati to Denver, which, as much as I love Cincy, if I had to pick an NFL city to live in and post up in, of the 32, I think it might be Denver. Loved it there. Energy was great. Settled energy out of Sean Payton and this team with these veterans, some of the departures, young team, reckless but disciplined, wanting to learn. The youth and the relative inexperience is a really positive thing. So much roster turnover. 6 starters, just 6 left from the pre-Payton era on the squad. He came in, knew what he wanted, did his thing, make no mistake. And there might not be a ton of guys who are household names just yet, but the, purge, I guess. I don't know, that's sort of strong, but the turnover has left them with that was the theme for me when I was there. Motivated, young, talented players. Gen Z, Coach Payton wanting them to be Gen Z because they want to learn. He told me he was doing a lot of selling. And I don't think it was just about let me sell you on this way to sleep better or this way to take care of your, selling on why it's important to do the things the old school way, to adhere to what he's saying. They want to choose to buy it. Sean knows that, and they're doing it. And it seems to be working, as we see. We're getting a little bit more of the Bo Nix positivity going on. And not that I put a lot of stock into the preseason, but the fact that they did finish undefeated, that gives you some confidence. That gives you a little something going in. They led the NFL by scoring over 33 points a game. That speaks to how much depth there is, how much skill top to bottom this squad is rolling out there. And it does speak to how bought in they are. They are buying what coach is selling. And they're onto something in Denver. Everyone I talked to and came across, even in the hallways, seemed to think so and seemed to feel it. And it's similar to, the Joe Burrow Cincy effect, where you got to believe in your quarterback. like, if you believe in your quarterback and you believe in what he's got going on, it's easy to show up to work every day. And that's Bo Nix. Sean Payton couldn't hide a smile to me when asked about his quarterback. Even Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners in the league, Cortland Sutton, they were blown away by what they've seen from a young rookie. What stands out about Bo Nix?
Yeah, I just think he's very composed. He understands the offense very well. Obviously, his chemistry with Court, Tim, Josh, and everybody, I think it stands out. And he's taking command of the huddle, taking control, and he's just looking very confident. I just remember, like, the first day he was here in OTAs, he made a no-look pass, and everybody was like, okay, he's coming in with that mojo, that swagger, but it's good to have, good to see. Him coming in with that experience and that confidence, it speaks for itself.
So hearing that he has confidence and command of the offense, not surprising, because we've obviously learned about Bo throughout the draft process, but behind the back passes, the mojo, that caught my attention. I think he's going to be better than a lot of people think. A lot of draft critics even thought. And, Coach Payton found the love of his life. He found his quarterback, his Patrick Mahomes. Don't put that pressure on him, but the guy that he saw and wanted, he went and got. The Patriots, the only team in the entire league right now getting longer odds to make the playoffs than the Broncos right now. Denver's plus 540. Even the Panthers and Giants get shorter odds. Are you joking? I know the AFC's loaded. I'm not going to get caught overlooking the Denver Broncos. I'm not overlooking the fact that I think Devin McCourty, after this break, will join me to announce a $200 million deal with Netflix or something for his podcast. We got to bring that podcast back. I saw what these Kelsey brothers are pulling in, gracing us with his presence. 3-time Super Bowl champion, Football Night in America's star, Devin McCourty. The GOAT. Yeah, that was great. Hammer, those odds are bananas.
Absolutely nuts.
Thanks for showing me those.
Of course.
Is there a Rutgers Hall of Fame thing I was looking at?
Oh yeah.
That's really insane.
It's big. Yeah.
Not
It's
surprising,
huge.
but very cool.
Yeah, and those teams they were on were so good. A lot of New Rochelle guys on that team too, by the way.
I'm
on that
sure.
Rutgers team with them.
I'm sure. Who else who's a current Rutgers NFL? Pacheco?
Yeah.
Who else? I don't know.
Oh man, Devin's gonna.
Harmon, I know, right?
Yeah.
Teron Harmon. Interesting.
Wow,
I knew something you didn't know. College stuff. You should have seen me during this when I'm talking to Whitworth. Like Schrift was like, bring up the LSU USC game. And I'm like, not interested. And then, of course, like, he was so passionate about it. If you watch me on the screen, I'm like, oh, my God, don't ask me anything about college, anything. I literally was like, Reggie Bush went to, USC. Like, I'm like, I had no idea. I still don't understand the impact of the game this weekend.
Yeah, I think, like, Whitworth was talking about, that was, like, the whole debate when Whitworth won his national championship was USC was voted national champions, even though LSU won the national championship game. So there's like a lot of beef there. Yeah.
Had Mizzou been good when I went there, maybe I'd care more.
You didn't pay attention. We finished number 4 in the country.
They're good now, right?
But yeah, very good right now. Yeah.
My Mizzou team?
I mean, look
Jeremy Macklin?
right there, number 1. We got to number 1.
All I remember is making a lot of money on those Saturdays and a lot and like trying to make sure everybody cashed out before they lost the game. That's like I don't know why that was my memory. Like they're getting crushed. So let's make sure that, I get the tips before they lose.
There's a little of that early on, but we got there. We got to where we needed to be.
Let's see. Okay. What else do I want to ask Brother McCourty about? Honestly, that quick slants coaching tree.
It's a real thing.
At the end of the day, who will be the most successful from the quick slants coaching tree? Will it be Gerard or Devin? Won't be me. I want to retire in 2 years.
You're taking yourself out of the running already?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a different broadcast.
It will.
It's great to see Devin McCourty. It's great to see Jason.
You
McCourty.
got it right.
I got it right this time.
This right here is probably just good old over cover 2.
Any message?
Jason, love you. Devin, you could be nicer.
Wow, that is a really good. Was that Zolak that just said that, Dev? That's a good. That would be your Bravo Housewives tagline. Jason, love you. Devin, you could be nicer. That kind of sums it up, McCourty.
I killed David Andrews for that. Be nicer. That was the softest thing an offensive lineman could ever say to somebody. Be nicer. Come on, DA.
I thought that was Zolak, but that was Zolak for a little bit. Then you had Andrews. The whole world was back together. You are a 3-time All-Pro. You are a 3-time Super Bowl champion. You can catch you on NBC's Football Night in America. What was it like to have your preseason action the other night? It was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, it was good, I think, especially getting back with the whole crew. We spent like an hour in the hallway before we actually did anything, just catching up, talking Olympics. So it felt really good to be back in there. I used to hate this time of year. Training camp was back as a player. Outside media, I love it. We got something to talk about. I'm all for it.
I love that you did, of course, the Sunday Night Football broadcast. You called games for the Patriots with your brother, which was amazing. And you guys took it over. You were fantastic. It makes me, want to ask you about this Kelsey deal. I'm sure you've seen it. $100 million for Brothers Kelsey with Amazon. I'm sure you're going to say congratulations, but let's get this you and Jason thing cooking.
Yeah, man, the Kelseys are awesome. I think what they do, obviously what they did on the field now, parlaying that into more. We're working. We're out here working. Jay's CBS. He's getting going. So hopefully someday my mom could be proud. We can sign a $150 million deal. You got to always be better. So, but no, it's cool to see. And I think it's opening up more doors for guys getting into this space and trying to have some fun.
Yeah, I'm sure your mom is not proud of you yet. That's the real headline here. She has nothing to be proud of you, McCourty's about. You guys had a podcast, though. Or is there any talk about bringing that back?
We've talked about it a little bit. It's harder now with Jay traveling to do games and some of the stuff we're doing, but the plan is to at some point bring it back at my house so I don't have to travel to him. So we'll see. What
was Jason doing on his phone when you were calling him out?
So we didn't know the camera was on us, but we were going to watch a replay of a guy getting hurt. But most likely, he's been at it longer, but I've always been the true pro. So I had to just nudge him a little bit and say, hey, lock in. I know Hammer worked with him before on Good Morning Football. The guy's not a pro. Nobody says bad things about him, but the truth is I'm still showing him how to be great at stuff.
Yeah, a true pro breaks news when he can, and that's what you did. In the broadcast against the Eagles, you dropped a little nugget about Tom Brady's broadcasting schedule. Let's take a listen.
Got Brady repping, doing games. It's going to be pretty good, I think.
He'll be back here at some point. I think it's week 5. I'm
probably
with,
Miami, right? Yeah.
I'm with CBS, so we don't talk about Fox announcers.
I mean, Fox has not confirmed Brady's schedule yet. You did, though. What do we need to know?
I loved it, too, because people probably was like, he talks to Brady all the time. The last conversation we had was me saying happy birthday to him. So, no, I don't know. I assume, week 5, he's coming. That game, why would you not come bring Brady back? So, hey, but if I did break news, like Jay said, he works for CBS, I work for NBC. I don't work for Fox, so I can't get in trouble. So I'm all for it if it is true.
I want to get to some NFL stuff, but I was reading, and it's not like this is a surprise, but congratulations to you and Jason.
Thank
because
you.
It's finally been announced. You will be inducted into the Rutgers Athletic Hall of Fame. What are the details? Do we paper, scissors, rock over who gets to go first? How are we preventing overlap? Who's making the speeches? What's going to happen?
We had to make a decision if we wanted to speak together or go separate, but we felt like it was like the same story, so we go together. I usually let Jay lead it off. I think everybody knows you always save the best for last, so Jay will open it up. I'll close the show, but truth of the matter is I heard they just didn't have enough guys to put in to the Hall of Fame this year, so they were like, hey, these guys look alike. Maybe we'll get a nice little buzz about it. They'll be funny up there, throw them in the Hall of Fame, so we got lucky.
No one walks the line of being confident and jokey and humble like you do. Do you know that? You do a really good job of, like, you take your shots and you know who you are. You're a made man, but you also have a humble aspect to you, which not many people can walk that line as finely as the great Devin McCourty. So you'll be closing it out. You were the headliner on that speech. Let's talk a little football here. Cowboys, right? We want to make the headlines. We have CeeDee Lamb. He signs a 4-year deal, new deal with the Cowboys. There was an article yesterday that Clarence Hill wrote with a quote from Jerry Jones. Here's the quote. There's nobody, he said, so yeah, here we go. So hell no, there's nobody that could blank come in here and do all the contracts and be a GM any better than I can. The reason I don't let somebody else be the GM is because I don't have anybody that I will, and I don't even know what the rest of it is. Anyway, when you hear this, when you see this is going on, do you agree with Jerry?
I mean, for the Cowboys, I guess it is true. But, I mean, the way they handled this situation, it doesn't seem to be true. It seems like this deal could have got done a lot sooner. It would align CeeDee Lamb to be in training camp, i.e. Justin Jefferson. They got the deal done. He was able to do mandatory minicamp, come into training camp, get that team off and running. So this doesn't seem like the best thing. And then we still have Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons contracts sitting over top of their heads as well. So, hey, truth of the matter is he's been doing it for a long time. It's one of the most successful organizations from a business standpoint. They just haven't won any Super Bowls since '95, I think. So from that aspect, hey, best job security. A lot of other guys might not still have that job, but Jerry, I'm not mad at him. When you're hiring the general manager, it would be hard for me to find a general manager better than me too.
I mean, let's bring it to your NFL career. Kraft, how involved was? Do you think he was is he more involved than people think he is in that stuff, or does he sort of let, did he let Caserio, does he let Wolf do his thing?
Yeah, I think he was involved in the standpoint of he's the owner of the team. So when you do get a guy, like the times I've signed contracts, I would get a call from him or a text from him. I think he's involved in the knowing of it. He's actually a part of, the organization. I think you see sometimes some owners are more focused in the other businesses they do and they just own the team. No, he's like involved in the fact of like, he knows what's going on. From my time there, I never believed that he was involved in like making decisions. Let's get this guy. Let's get rid of that guy. We really need this guy. I don't think that's his role for the Patriots, has never been, as far as I know. But I think he's definitely involved on a day-to-day of being there, showing up, and being a present owner.
Yesterday, Gerard Mayo, who we know and love, said that he sort of admitted Drake May has outplayed Jacoby Brissett in games. Not even just games, Dev, practice. Now, obviously, there's more to consider. There's full body of work. There's experience in game action. Like, I get all of that. Knowing Mayo like Mayo, why hasn't he named a starter yet?
I don't think he's ready yet. I think one of the big things, like Drake May's performance against Washington stood out. It's what everybody wanted to talk about. The best play of the day got called back and it didn't count. Mm-hmm. But to me, the thing that stood out even more than that was the offensive line play. Jacoby Brissett gets killed on the first series, and that's why he doesn't continue. There was 4 illegal formation penalties in the game. So I don't think they're going to say it as much, but I think the offensive line and what they have there is something they're trying to figure out before they name a quarterback. Because if you look at the beginning of the Patriots schedule, you have 4 of the better defenses in the NFL. You have Seattle in there, you have Cincinnati, you have the Jets, you have San Francisco. Like, you got to be weary of sending Drake May in there when an offensive line that's still trying to figure itself out and saying, hey, go handle everything and give us a chance to win. I think you can really ruin a guy's career sending him out there. So I think they're trying to figure out that first part and then get to the quarterback. But I think they're happy. Drake May looked awesome these last 2 weeks, especially from being up there and hearing people say he's seen far back from Jacoby. It seems like he closed that gap. And like Gerard said, maybe even overtook it, but I don't know if they're ready to send him out there week 1.
Okay. Is that what happened to Mac Jones?
I do think Mac Jones' first year, it was way more secure. We had an offensive line. We had different guys that had been there for a while. That wasn't an issue. We had new threats, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Jonnu Smith. We went and got all those guys. The next year, Josh McDaniels leaves, and what was surrounding was not the same. And I thought that was the spiral of it all, because the frustrations of dealing with that, it's hard to deal with for a young player. And I think they want to avoid that for Drake May. Yes, it's his first year, different than Mac. Mac had a lot of success his first year. But no matter what, if you don't have the pieces around a quarterback, C.J. Stroud. They go in, they get Shaq Mason. They make another trade for a left tackle. They have, a right tackle. Laremy Tunsil's already there at left tackle. You had some things built that he could come in and then just be himself. Right now, I don't think you can say, hey, if Drake May is just himself and he's a good player, this team can be successful. He's not to worry about a lot of other things.
You know, you were with David Andrews. It's so like it sounds like you're saying, and this I feel bad for Jacoby. Like Jacoby, go be the sacrificial lamb and go take lumps and get your ass kicked because we don't want to ruin the development of Drake May. And frankly, Jacoby, you can handle it better. It takes a special guy to like subscribe to that. You know, Jacoby, of course, he doesn't want to be that. He doesn't want to be the punching bag. He doesn't want to be the stand-in until it figures out. Being with David and sort of seeing it, you know, how it's shaping out. What does that look like? Can it get fixed? You're saying like not before week 1? Are we saying like early in the season? Like what has to happen, or how long do you think it takes, as it's clearly dependent on the offensive line, which I agree with?
Yeah, and I want to hit Jacoby is great guy. I know him well, but you look at his career, Andrew Luck surprisingly retires. He has to step up and play in that situation. Yeah. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson's there, he gets suspended. So he's played in some poor situations, but I text David Andrews right after the game and I said, hey, Dave, I knew you were a good player, but I didn't know the whole thing would just fall apart if you didn't play a game. So, like, that's my worry. David comes back. It's going to look better than it looked Sunday night.
Okay.
Sunday night, it wasn't against the starter. So even with him in there, I don't know how it looks. You start playing the best of the best in the league, it's still going to be pretty tough. It's going to take a couple weeks, and it still might not get solved.
I think they'll still win more games than people are saying. This Patriot squad, like I want them to. I'm getting verklempt about it. But I was looking this morning. At some point, the Jets took over as the favorite, which I find interesting because I think it was the Bills for a little bit. You know, it's the Hassan Reddick thing plays large, right? They're the favorites to win the East. I'll ask you, if Hassan doesn't play this season, and I think he will, I think he'll actually show up like on Labor Day. Do you think they're still the favorites to come out of this tough division?
I do right now. I think because that defense is so good, they've never played a game with Hassan Reddick. I just don't think. Is he going to have an impact? He's out on the field. Yes, he's one of the best pass rushers since he's entered the league. He's had a really good career so far. But I think for them as a defense, I don't think they feel like their defense relies on just one player. It's the overall, every player in their role, doing different things. They've always had a plethora of guys who play on that defensive line. So last year we looked at this team at certain parts. They were competitive, almost in the playoffs. And this was all without Aaron Rodgers. So I have to think, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, this team should be the favorite. The key is going to be keeping him healthy. He hasn't played a game since he got hurt. And I know, like, it has to be some anxiety, some thoughts that, you know, are going to lead into that opening game for him. And it's a big game against San Francisco. But I do like the Jets right now in the AFC East.
Hopefully they get Hassan Reddick back. It'll be huge for them. You know, I saw you at Jets practice. We didn't see Aaron Rodgers at all in the preseason, probably the right move. How does he look to you? You have familiarity around him. You've played against him. Like when you're watching him out there, even just practice footage or being there personally, at 40, coming off the injury, obviously the thing is keeping him healthy. How does he look to you?
He looks good. And I think that's the difference between practice and games. Practice is a controlled environment where no one's supposed to really be close to the quarterback. So there's this kind of sense of security and safety that you're not going to get once the game starts. So especially to have some new players on the offensive line, Tyron Smith, they're going to need to keep him healthy. He'll be a key part. But you look at Aaron Rodgers, what I love to see is still the drive, the joint practice against the Giants, the back and forth, throwing deep passes, hitting Garrett Wilson, like that aspect of Aaron Rodgers, like you can still see he loves the game and he still has a talented arm. He can still get the ball down the field. So there's no reason not to think that he can't deliver. Shoot, we all thought that last year. You don't expect to see a guy go down 4 plays into the season, but I expect him to go out there and play at a high level. But the truth of the matter is he doesn't need to be MVP Aaron Rodgers for this team to be good. The defense is that good that he just needs to be a good quarterback and be the best Aaron Rodgers in the clutch moments.
So why is everyone writing him off?
That's what we do. The guy, he's older. He got hurt.
Tom Brady left him off his top 5 list. And I'm like, what up, OG? You did it till you're 45. We're writing him off because he's 40? What? I don't get it.
Well, that's where we live. He got hurt last year. So now he gets hurt. You get to watch these new guys come in. And I will say, this is probably the best we've seen in a while of quarterback play with some of these young guys coming up, because there was a lot of fear as Aaron Rodgers got older. Tom Brady's done. Drew Brees is done.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, what's next? Like, we don't want to see a bunch of bad quarterbacks. And then you look up, you have so many guys. But when I got on, you guys were talking about Joe Burrow. Then you went straight to Bo Nix, another rookie who seems to be a part of a special rookie crop of quarterbacks so far in the preseason. They've all played well. So I get it. He got left off the top 5 list, but I would say even like a Peyton Manning towards the end of his career, you might leave him off a top 5 list, but you're not going to leave him off a list to lead his team to go win a big game, or like Peyton did in 2015, win a Super Bowl. And I think that's what the quarterback Aaron Rodgers needs to be, the guy that you don't want to play in an AFC championship or in a Super Bowl, rather than the MVP, the top 3-2 quarterback. That's not important right now.
Does he instill the same fear that he, like, there's an interesting thing. I was looking at it this morning. The over-under for his interceptions, the lowest among, I believe, any starting quarterback. It's like 6.5. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. He's banged, like, what did I see? He's had the lowest interception rate in the NFL 6 times in his career, right? And then I have Trevarius Ward, and I have Diamador Lenore, that's his week 1 matchup, big matchup in Santa Clara. They're saying we're going to get picks off him. I want him to sign my ball. I'm like, I don't know if that's the smart decision to make. What do you make of that? Look at your face.
I love it, because that's DBs. Like, we don't fear anybody. You want to go out there and compete, and they're going against the Garrett Wilsons of the world. Garrett Wilson looks unbelievable so far in training camp this year. So they're getting excited. Nobody wants to hear everybody talk about the quarterback and what they're going to do. And they played Tom Brady when he was in Tampa, and guys got interceptions. So, yeah, you should feel that way. But I still believe Aaron Rodgers is a guy that completely healthy. I played him in 2022 when he was dealing with a finger issue. And we got into overtime. We didn't score after we stopped him the first time. We gave him the ball back. He drove down. They kicked the field goal. They beat us. So I still think, guys are going to talk about it. But when they're in practice or they're in a meeting and they're talking about, hey, 2-minute drill, this is what we need to do, there's definitely going to be a sense of fear that if you give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, 1:40, 2 minutes and 6 seconds left or something like that, he can go win the game. And when you play a quarterback and you play teams where they have a guy who can win the game, as a defense and as a team, you got to go win it. They're not going to just lose it. And that doesn't happen every week. There's a lot of teams in this league who will lose games rather than go win them.
And I mean, Trevarius Ward wants an autograph. I remember a Logan Ryan pick 6 that he had Tom sign. So we'll see.
Yeah, we know. He shows this ball every 4 weeks of like, remember me? I intercepted Tom Brady. We get it, Logan. We know what you did.
We'll see if Ward can do it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, that day that I saw you, told me he would oblige and sign it for him because he's an OG. What is your season prediction? Give me some prediction about 2024, Devin. Either side of the ball. You're sick of talking about quarterbacks, so maybe hit me on defense.
Let's go on defense. Well, I'll go big prediction.
Okay.
I'm going Detroit Lions Super Bowl. Let's see, like, Detroit Lions Super Bowl. I think the fear everybody has is that this team now is on the other side. They have to handle success. Everybody expects them to do certain things, how much pressure that creates. I was at that Giants and Detroit joint practice. Aaron Glenn was like, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. The whole time he's on the sideline, barking, going crazy. I just think Detroit and like what they built with Dan Campbell, they're the team that, like, they don't care. They don't care if you pick them. They don't care if you don't pick them. You look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. You watch the receiver. He's pissed he wasn't a Pro Bowler. Even when they came in and said, hey, you're first team All-Pro, you could tell he was excited, but it was like, I should have been full gamut. I should have been Pro Bowler and first team All-Pro. So I still think they're trying to prove something. They have an edge to them. So I can't wait. We have them opening weekend Sunday night against the Rams. So it'll be fun to see what they get off to. I picked the Rams in that playoff game last year, and I was wrong. Detroit won it. So I don't think I'm going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell complacency is not in his bag. That is not in his dictionary. Exactly. He is amazing. And we can check out that game on Football Night in America, where you can see Devin McCourty, a star, but still humble enough to come visit me on my show, which I love. And congrats on Rutgers and everything. Say what up to Doc, who I love, and you're living the best life ever, of course.
Anytime. It's an honor to be on the Kay Adams
You're
Up and
so-
Adams
you're
show.
so
Give me more invites.
You're so annoying. We love you, though, and we love your brother. And you need to stop being so mean, as David Andrews said. We'll be back. We got Colt McCoy on the show. We're all smiles here, but we are going to talk about celebrations for retirement. We're going to go into the bag, into the career, into the history, and into the future around the league with a new, I guess, teammate of Devin McCourty. NBC vibes here. Okay, sounds good. We're going to do it after Colt, leading into break. Are you sure? Okay. Okay. What up, Ham?
What's
I
up?
think you got to have the matchup in there for promoting that he's on Football Night in America.
At the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You can see him, the first game is this. Ask him something about that first game. We'll get there.
Yep.
We want Whitney. We have to get Whitney on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like she was all
I can't
about
have
it.
Whitney on a delay. I refuse. It would have to be in.
She's got to be in there with you.
And then I need like all of the coffee in the world. Like all of the coffee in the world.
You're gonna let it rip, right? Like none of
Absolutely.
these draft guidelines where, yeah.
No guidelines. No guidelines. I bet Kat's like, Kat, wasn't that fun? Yeah, she was great. She's incredible. And so quick that like I was not catching everything, you know, and I catch everything. So I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like it was like whizzing by my head. Not by even the on-camera
sneaking.
stuff, more the off-camera stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
No, she was great. I mean, she was
special.
great on camera too. Yeah. Or MMG.
MMG and I have updates on MMG and I.
Oh boy.
It's getting serious.
Not gonna make any of the jokes I want to make right now.
Why? I run the gamut. What can I say? All
Yeah.
league, from here to there and everything in between. That's where I am. Okay. Okay, we're gonna give you guys some fantasy. Okay, great. And then Colt McCoy. So
I'm
fun.
excited for this one.
Me too. I mean, what a gig.
Yeah.
What a freaking gig. Love that.
He's gonna be great at
I
it.
know, I'm excited.
Very excited.
Yeah, that's really great. All right, let's do this, guys. All right, back on Up and Adams. It is time for a little something I am calling Hear Me Out. Hear me out. I'm going to give you a little peek into my forever strategy for fantasy football, but especially this year. Hear me out. I am not drafting one of the top quarterbacks this year, probably one of the top 10 quarterbacks this year, because there's so much value out of the top 10. You know how I feel about this if you followed me. I started my career in fantasy football. These are my guys. These are guys who will be on my fantasy rosters. Jaden Daniels. Let's go to the Commanders. I trust Cliff. He's going 11th at quarterback on Fantasy Pros, 6th or 7th round in most draft. He is a steal. He's got the ability on the ground, through the air. I think he has top 5 potential. I think he has number 1 potential. Anthony Richardson, I love you too. But you want the rushing yards, the touchdowns. It's not just icing on the cake anymore, especially with the level and the talent and how special of a quarterback Jaden Daniels is. So he's the guy you can wait for and you can grab instead of the Josh Allens of the world. You just can't. It's better value. Next up, guy who led the league in passing. Okay, Tua Tagovailoa. He's going 14th at quarterback right now, 8th or 9th round. Led the whole league, guys. And it's going to take him, 5 throws to Tyreek Hill to get this done for you every week? Come on. I think his ceiling is higher than ever. 29 touchdown passes, just that, with the Dolphins leading the league in rushing touchdowns. I think it's going to be a little more balanced in his way. I think we see him toss 30-plus easily with those receivers. So Tua is a guy who I would ride or die with. 25th in fantasy football. And last but not least, let's go to the old man, Kirk Cousins, old at 36. I mean, you mean to tell me you can get a guy who was top 5 in fantasy points per game last year in the 10th or 11th round this year? He's got star on star to throw to at every position. He's the 17th quarterback off the board. It's a crime. It's a crime. Immediate jail if you're not taking him, okay? Why would I want to take a quarterback until I have all my other positions in order? Yeah, there's a lot of depth at wide receiver, sure. But I'm taking every other position and ending up with Kirk Cousins, who I'm super happy, low floor, high ceiling. And so, yeah, that's what, hear me out. Don't draft. Don't waste your time drafting one of these top quarterbacks. And at the end of the day, last year, Dak Prescott was the number 3 fantasy quarterback. There's so much value later in the draft, and that is it. Okay, right now, my next guest, I'm very excited about this. You played 12. I mean, to play 12 seasons in the NFL is unbelievable. 2-time Heisman finalist, winningest quarterback in Texas history. And congratulations are in order to you, Colt McCoy, joining NBC in the fall, covering the Big Ten. Tell me more about that.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. I love the NFL. Got to play for 14 years, tons of fun, but college football is my favorite. So having the opportunity to join up with NBC, call some college games on for Big Ten, I'm real excited about it.
Is there a game? Listen, I'm not a college football girly. You got to tell me. Give me the headline. Give me your bold prediction for the college game going into this year.
Yeah, I like your fantasy football picks, by the way. To hear me out.
Yeah.
I think it's new for me to call some Big Ten. Obviously, I've played in the Big 12, familiar with kind of that, and Texas transition to the SEC. I think that season will be awesome. But the Big Ten is great, right? You got East Coast to West Coast, all the old Pac-12 teams that are coming into the Big Ten. All the blue blood schools there, the Michigans, the Penn States, the Ohio States. Like there's a lot of awesome matchups this year.
We had Andrew Whitworth on yesterday, and he was really talking about this USC LSU matchup that's going on this weekend in Vegas. Is there a game that you have circled that you're calling this year? I haven't looked at your schedule.
Well, I mean, my first one, I'm calling Colorado at Nebraska in a couple weeks on primetime. I mean, very thankful for this opportunity with NBC, but I'm getting thrown out there quick. There are a lot of storylines there. Love what Colorado is building with Dion and Coach Rule at Nebraska, starting a rookie quarterback, got a good defense coming back. Like it's a cool matchup. I'm really excited about that one, and it'll be the first one to get under my belt and see if I'm any good at it, and be fun.
We're going to see if you're any good at it. That's a huge game. I got to say, if I had to make like a top 5 list of people who I'm intimidated by in talking to them or interviewing, Deion's definitely Deion's on that list. What are those pre-production meetings going to be like?
We'll see.
Ooh.
I mean, I've got to be around him several times, right? Watched him as a player when I was growing up, right? Played for the Cowboys, the Niners. Yeah, I grew up in Texas, small town, so the Cowboys were kind of like who you watched, and that was the dynasty days in the 90s. So I'm excited about these production meetings. There's a lot of guys that are going to play in the NFL. I think Nebraska feels like they have a lot to prove, and lots of storylines here for sure.
Can't wait. I mean, Colorado and Deion out the gates is sort of wild. I can't wait. And congrats on that, and congrats on your career. You, after so many seasons in the NFL, over a decade, you decide to end it, enter this new path. Before we turn the page, I do want to go back to one of our favorite moments here on the show from your career. If you will indulge us, it wasn't that long ago. It was 2021. Kyler gets hurt. You come in. You pick up right where he left off. Talk me through this play.
Oh, well, listen, I love Zach Ertz, phenomenal player. Got to play with a lot of good guys in Arizona. But we went down to Seattle. We were just, James Conner inside the 5-yard line. That's almost guaranteed, right, for a touchdown. So we kind of faked to him, and Ertz kind of slips behind the linebackers and makes a big play. And that was a fun game. I'm glad you brought this up. Going to Seattle and that game in the division was big. It was a ton of fun. That was a big game for us that year. And
it was a bobbled snap too. You completed 80% of your passes in that game. The win got the Cardinals to 9-2, and then business part of it happens. When you watch a highlight like that, like when you know that you're now retired, What's the process been like for you upstairs? Like, how is it emotionally, mentally, to walk away from something you did for so long?
Yeah, it's tough. It really is. I mean, I was the water boy for my dad's football team at 3 years old. Like, I've just been around football my whole life. And so, to be able to play 4 years at Texas, to go to the NFL, play a long time, play on some really good teams, to know that you're not going to go back out there and do it is, there's a lot of emotions there. I hurt my elbow a couple years ago, had a surgery, and it just never really came back the way I wanted to. I mean, look, you got to be dead on accurate to play in the NFL. And when you lose a little bit of that, it didn't come back the same way, that's hard that's a hard one to navigate. And then to just kind of say, you know what, I don't think I can do it anymore. It's hard, but at the same time, I put myself in a very thankful, sort of grateful category of, I got to be around so many great coaches, and I made so many great friends and was on so many good teams. And I get to stay in football by doing some things with the NBC and calling games, and I love college football. I think that that at least gives me a soft landing to figure out all the things that I want to do next.
And it's amazing. It was almost to the day. I think we're one day off, but you got cut from Arizona. And today
That's coming up.
Yeah, today's that day. It's getting cut down to 53 by I believe 4 p.m. Eastern.
I know you come into the NFL, you get drafted, you're not really sure on these cut days, but the more years you play, the longer you're in it, like you realize that at some point everybody gets cut, and it's not a fun day. I have a lot of respect for all these teams and coaches who have to get their squad put together, and I have a big soft spot in my heart for the guys who are kind of sitting on the edge of their seat today to kind of figure out, am I going to make it? Right? It doesn't get talked about enough, and it's a real happy day for a lot of people, and it's a real emotional, sad day for a lot too.
And then it's not just you, right? Like, take me to a year ago. Take me to you having to go, hey, Rachel, this is what happened. I now get cut, because it doesn't just affect you. It affects a lot of people, and it doesn't get talked about enough, so talk about it. Yeah,
no, 100%. It affects your family. I think the other thing that doesn't get talked about a lot is your family. It's your wife. It's your kids. Like, you get traded or you get cut, and then, like, the people around you are the ones that are going to have to pick up the slack and move and pack up and make a new community, figure out new schools for kids. Like, my wife is amazing. She did it 4 times. And she doesn't get near enough credit for that, but we're not the only ones, right? This happens all the time. And so day like today, like, I kind of knew a couple years ago this was coming. We had good conversations. I knew my elbow wasn't going to make it. But at the same time, it's still a hard reality for a lot of guys that are counting on this and want to play, and this is their passion and love, and there comes a time for it to be over for everybody, and so there is a little emotional spot for me for a lot of these guys that are kind of on the bubble this today and this week.
What would you tell them? What would you say, this is the most important thing you should know on this day if it doesn't go well for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think for me, had lots of conversations with guys throughout the years. Like, being in the locker room for a long time, you create good relationships, you have great conversations. And I think, my message to everyone is that football's awesome. It's what we do. And it's a joy, and it's an honor, and respect the game, and the times that you get to go out there and step in those white lines and play, like, give it all you got. And don't be disappointed in yourself that you left anything out there. Right. And if you did, then, whatever happens is going to happen. And there's got to be a foundation in you that's more than just football, right? I've played with so many guys that have made impacts on me of just understanding that, like, football is great and it's provided a lot of things for us. But at the end of the day, who are you? What's your foundation? What do you believe in? And don't let, if you get cut, don't let that be the most disappointing day in your life. And if you make this team, don't let that be the happiest day of your life, right? This is what we do, and fall back on your family, your faith, your friends, because there's a lot more to you than just a football player.
It's really well said and good perspective on a day that does affect so many people. I appreciate you talking about it. We talked a little college, talked a little you. Let's talk a little Kyler. You know Kyler. You were with him. He has so much potential, so much talent, and he's polarizing. He really is. I would love for you to tell me if we have seen his potential, if you think he's going to have a huge year. What is your prediction on Kyler and this Arizona squad?
Listen, I mean, I've got a front row seat to the things that Kyler can do, and there's not a lot of guys that can do the things that he does. I think that he's going to have a great year. That's just my opinion. I think he's got weapons around him that are really good for him, right? Drafting Marvin Harrison, solid X. Michael Wilson's coming into his own. Trey McBride was a breakout tight end last year. Obviously, James Conner, he's never going to lose a yard. They've kind of rebuilt that offensive line. I just think the pieces are there. It's his second year going into this new system, right? He's with Cliff for 4 years. And I think he's got a pretty good grasp of what they're trying to do and accomplish, and it's built around the run game, which really helps him. And so if it was me, I really think that the table is kind of set for him to have a good year.
What does that mean? Hold on. You said great year. Now you said good year. What is a good year for Kyler Murray? What does that mean? Let me ask it to you this way: who has a better year, him or Jaden Daniels?
Wow, I love Cliff, and I think Jaden's going to have a great year. Right? He has some receivers too. I think this. I would. What did Kyler say? Bet the over. I don't know really what that means, but I would say after talking to Kyler and kind of just checking in on him every now and then, I really feel like he's in a really good headspace. He loves the team. He says there's a lot of confidence amongst all the guys. Right? It's his second. He's had a full off season. He's not. He's healthy. He's got all the reps. That is a big deal when you're changing offense. That changed offenses my first 5 years in the NFL, and it's brutal, right? And so I think just the confidence that he has going into the season right now. I mean, listen, I think he's going to have a really, really good year, and I've been around him enough to kind of know his vibe and know his confidence level at times, and I just feel like right now he's in a really good place. Amazing.
We can catch Colt McCoy September 7th calling Colorado, Nebraska on NBC. Congrats on your career, on your future career. Don't go anywhere. I need to ask you something in the break because we're live on YouTube still. We'll be back on the FanDuel side, but you got to give it to me straight. Jaden Daniels or Kyler Murray? Who am I drafting in fantasy? Because I think I'm drafting Jaden, but I know you got the Cliff Kingsbury connection. Who would you draft?
I love them both, but I would take Kyler.
You would take Kyler?
Yeah.
I love that. What do people get wrong most about Kyler? Because I really do think he's, people don't like to give him credit at all.
Yeah, look, listen, it's hard to find anybody more talented than him right off the bat.
Totally.
His accuracy, his feel of the game is best I've played with. Right, and when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
I think that he's kind of bought into the system. He's bought into what they're trying to do. He recognizes how much the run game helps him, helps to get the tight end open. You saw that late in the year. I think they went and got some. I think Michael Wilson is really good.
Okay.
I think Greg Dortch is really good. I think Marvin Harrison, obviously,
Trey McBride.
He doesn't have the experience, but I think that's a big added piece. And so I think that Kyler's just really confident in that. It's his second year in the system, and I feel good about where he's at.
I have a fake friendship with Kevin Durant. I pretend that we're friends, but I get to talk to him next week. What should I ask him? Because you were, I believe, floor mates with him in college, yeah?
I was.
What should I ask him about from back then that would blow his mind?
Oh man, I remember when Kevin got to school, he was just tall, kind of lanky, kind of unassuming, real quiet. We all ate in the athletic dining hall.
So nothing's changed.
Yeah, and then we all went to the basketball game. I don't remember who they were playing. It was the first basketball game. He dropped 40 points, and I'm we're looking around that's Kevin? Are you serious? I was kind of naive at the time, right? I didn't know, and he becomes a superstar overnight. But we were never just super close. We were always busy with football and basketball. But I mean, what a career! I mean, the dude is one of the most talented guys that ever played the game.
Love that. I'll tell him that you say hi. We love that. Colt, thank you for joining
tell him
us.
I said hi.
I will. I'll tell him you say hi. Like I don't know if there was like a Kevin story that we missed, but that's pretty cool that you were on the floor with him.
Yeah, fun times.
Love that. Thank
Long
you,
time
Colt.
ago.
Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Love to Rachel. She better get, by the way, Texas Hall of Fame, yeah?
That's right. That's right. That'll be
Rachel
fun.
better be getting quite a shout out, it sounds like.
She will. And it'll be the first game my kids have ever gone to a UT game. So it's like, big deal. I'm more excited about that. I think just to see them and their reaction going to a big college football game like that.
I love that. Enjoy Colorado. We'll all be watching. Thanks, Colt.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love that. Okay.
It's Predictathon 2024. 8 days of K's NFL season predictions. And here she is with her picks, Kay Adams.
Day 2 of Predictathon. Yesterday I said Caleb Williams will break the Bears' all-time single passing yards record. That wasn't a very spicy one. So today we're going to go a little outside the box. This offseason, we talked to 3 people very close to J.J. Watt, and I'm confident in saying that J.J. Watt will come out of retirement, that's right, and play for the Texans, none other than his former squad this season. I'm telling you. We talked to his brother, T.J. Watt. We talked to, long ago, Texans GM Nick Caserio early in the offseason, and Texans head coach D'Amico Ryans, and here's what they all had to say about his return.
Know that he's staying in shape. We talked again last night. I'm always sending him film. He's always wanting to see film, and he's always trying to correct me and help me become a better pass rusher and stuff. So he definitely is still interested. I don't know how real all of that conversation is. You'd have to have that with him, but who knows?
Once the season starts, then I think that's when the competitive juices get going. So D'Amico has an open door policy for JJ, so we'll see how it goes.
JJ knows. Anytime he's ready, I'm ready.
What does that mean?
If he's ready. JJ's been out now for 2 years? When you stop playing football for 2 years, it's hard to come back.
So you're saying that knowing it's an open invitation, but he's probably not going to take it.
It's always open for JJ. I'm never closing that door.
Why not close the door? What does it help you to have these rumors out there? Like throw the water on it, but like end the chaos. They didn't. Nobody did. Danielle Hunter, I'll add, was like, yeah, I'll bring him in here. Like, we'll make room for him. He changed his number. He left the 99 available for JJ to walk through the door. So I will say, and I feel pretty good about this, JJ at some point, I know like CBS probably doesn't want to hear this, but it might even help. I don't know. Maybe he could do both. If anybody could do both, isn't it JJ Watt? It's happening. I think he is returning to the NFL. And after yesterday, that might not be it. We got Brady, Viking rumors. I don't believe that one. But the Aaron Donald to the Rams one, a little predictathon to my predictathon. So I think those both happen. Actually, a 2-for-1 deal on a Tuesday. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for watching on YouTube. And I promise we'll only get better every day.